Hey everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Internet Friends, the episode where we predict what's going to happen on Tuesday's election night. I'm going to predict that I'm going to be hungover on Wednesday.
Same.
Please, please.
I have 3 grams of shatter.
And
I
he's
have
going to
4
go
packs
through
of
all of
edibles.
he's going to beat through all of those before Tuesday.
Yep. My intentions. Well, Aaron and you and I texted about this. I said I'm getting a huge bottle of whiskey, smoking all of the weed in my house, and drinking the whole bottle.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be unconscious.
Oh yeah.
Please.
No, I'm going to be hungover on Wednesday. It's just whether or not the hangover that I wake up from is like I'm in a dungeon or am I in my own bed.
Yes.
But yeah, so elections coming up. We've already did our conversation in the pre-show. We're not a political show, so we're not going to get too far into it. But let's just say we haven't.
Fuck Trump. Free Palestine.
Yes, both those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Equally, if not more, one than the other. Yeah.
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've gotten together. We pre-recorded our last show, and now we basically had what was it, like almost a month now since the last time we recorded an episode.
Just about, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, so it's a lot's happened in the last month, to say the least.
Yeah.
So much so that it's pretty much a blur now, to say the
Yes.
least. And so hopefully we
Very
can all
much
just
a
kind
blur.
of rally at this point. But we can always start with one of our favorite things to do and talk about our homework, which was assigned by Brie.
Yay! We did Schitt's Creek, which is a big comfort show for me. I watched. Well, I think I mentioned this last time, but I was very skeptical on the show when I first watched it because the person who recommended it to me was like one of my coworkers who I fucking hated. And I'm like, well, if you like this show's gotta fucking suck. So I slept on it for a super, super long time, and then I think somebody else recommended it to me, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. Because admittedly, I feel like the premise is like so basic because it's like rich people down on their luck in a podunk town, wackiness ensues. So it's very simple, but I think it works so well. I think it's deeply funny. I think it's also just like very heartfelt in a lot of different ways. So it's become a comfort show for me. There's many episodes that make me cry a lot. Not less so in season 1 and 2, but it gets so fucking good. So I'm interested to see how you two liked it.
I had a hard time getting into it as well. I think it's because I had been oversold it. Like everyone's like, you got to watch it.
Yes.
It's so funny. It's so whatever. And I only watched the first season, which I'm upset about. And the reason I did that was because I thought, we've got 3 weeks until the next record. I've got plenty of time. And all of a sudden it was Tuesday night and I'm going, fuck, I got to start the show. Yeah. And so I started it, and then the first few episodes I watched, I was like, they're good, not super into it. Took me a couple more days to get into it. I marathoned the rest of the season last night and this morning. And at the end of the season, I'm like, this is fucking great. I need to watch more of this. I really like the show. I wish I had
more season 2, unfortunately. Like,
oh, is it?
Yeah, I would say like it's a good season, but like when you watch the rest, like it's arguably the worst season because they were just establishing so much.
It suffers from typical first season syndrome, and that like they really have to establish so much into it, and this show is so determinate on character development more than anything else. To where it's just like, that's when they're like literally at the start of their development. I would argue that like season 3 is like right where like it starts hitting its stride.
Okay. And that's interesting because it's something I specifically noted was that like I liked the development they did get in the first season. I mean, the last episode they're telling everybody they're out before it's even been sold yet. But like I did enjoy that little bit of development. So to know that they actually do much more than that from here on out is nice to know, and I'm excited about that looking forward.
Yeah, so I got about to season 5 before we started recording here, so that's where I left off. When Emily found out we were watching it, she got super excited and made it a note to like watch it with me, but she also went out of town, so I had to continue watching it after she went out of town. There's several kind of points. I think season 2 is actually an interesting season to watch after season 1, because like season 1 is very much from like the perspective of the family, and then in season 2 you start seeing the rest of the town kind of getting sick of the family shit.
And I like that.
And like it kind of makes it a more even dynamic kind of as it goes on. But yeah, watching with Emily, who watched it, I don't know if it was while it was airing, but like early on, back when like the hype train for the show was like at its peak, she watched it, so she was very invested in it. And there were specific elements that like I pointed out to her that like she was just like, oh god, I didn't realize that. And so appreciating it on different levels.
Yeah, I guess
like
better
what,
with
for
rewatches
instance?
too. Yeah, for sure. Please share.
Yeah.
What was that?
Please share
Like what,
you
for instance? What did you have to?
I pointed out episode 3 of season 1 that like John and Moira are very her parents coded.
Oh,
And that because I was just like, the way that like their relationship is, and like also how they act, is just like, that is basically just your mom and your stepdad.
Yeah.
And she was just like,
I got you.
oh god. And now when she watches it, she's just noticing things. She's just like, oh god, you're right. My mother does
But
do
it's always
that.
it's always a fun experience looking at your partner and going, "Oh, the reason you like this is because of your traumas."
Yeah.
Have you brought this up with your therapist?
You
need to.
That's how me and Emily watch shows together. It's just like, oh hey, here's something I could point out to you.
Yeah. That's good. That's healthy.
yes. I'm glad you guys liked it. That makes me so happy, because again, rewatching it, and I've watched it a couple times, like not necessarily all the way through. I do think the show is like it's already very good, but introducing David's like permanent love interest, I think like that dynamic is one of my like most favorite relationships in like all of TV. I just think it's like so sweet and so romantic and so genuine. I also just
Is
like,
it Stevie?
No,
it is not.
Oh,
I do. Yeah, you'll have to watch.
Spoilers. All right.
I do love Stevie.
All right.
Don't get me wrong. Stevie's one of my favorites.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
So good. But yeah, his love interest is just like that dynamic is so great. But like I feel like there is like the surface level, like very funny, like quirky kind of situation, but there's also like some deeper themes in there. Like I feel like this one I really noticed the level of loneliness that they all had, especially with David. I was like, wow, these are like deeply sad, deeply lonely people, and they don't even know how lonely they are, because especially the episode where David's asking Stevie to move with him, like he just wants someone to be in that apartment with him. Like he cannot stand to be alone. I was like, oh god, that's so fucking sad. He doesn't even realize it.
And that's a major thing for I think all the characters at some point, is that a lot of them kind of start to realize how like they, at the beginning of the show, obviously they long for their previous lifestyle, but then like they get the chance to reflect and see, it's just like, oh, that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Like the people who I was friends with were kind of phony, and the people who I was around were kind of toxic in different ways, and there's a lot of different kind of aspects to it. I also one of the ways I had to contextualize the show for myself was that like fish out of water experience that they were having from being wealthy Hollywood elites having to move into like small town, live in motel. I feel like I had the opposite like transition when I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, one of the poorest cities in the nation, moving to Northern Virginia, one of the wealthiest areas in the country. And like just the culture shock of it, and just like how people behave and talk to each other and treat each other, and just like being like, oh, this is like completely different worlds that you're experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, absolutely.
Well, good. I'm glad you guys liked it. I really didn't have like a ton to say about it, to be honest. I just fucking love this show. I needed something light and like easy to get into, so I didn't want to do anything heavy, and I think this is just it for me.
Well, it works well as a comfort show, like you mentioned. Like it's definitely a show where just like you can have it on in the background and not dedicate your full attention to it very easily, because it's not a extravagantly shot visual thing where like it has to suck your attention. It's just like you could hear the jokes, you could hear, and like as long as you see, okay, these two characters in this setting having this conversation, and like it doesn't require like a lot of attention to really understand what's happening.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because like that reminds me that one of the ways the show had been recommended to me was that it's sort of like Arrested Development, and while watching the show, kind of, but I did a dab before this and I lost my train of thought. Fuck. What were we talking about? Like, I felt it leave. I am so sorry.
Hold on, please.
Well, come
back. Come back.
Well, I mean, to piggyback maybe off your point, saying if you catch it, like, yeah, I think Arrested Development is one of the shows that, like, I was just like, yeah, this kind of is similar, because, like, it's a similar concept, wealthy family, not necessarily in the situation that they have become accustomed to. But also Arrested Development, same way. It's a certain collection of characters that consistently interact with each other and have different relationships with each other. So you only need, okay, this character is talking to this character in this setting. And the dialogue really is what's driving it, not so much the visuals of the scene. There are visual gags, but...
Yes, that was it. Is that a show like Arrested Development is so stacked and so layered with, like, you have to pay attention to that show. There are times in this one where you can just sit and like scroll your phone for a second and still hear a joke and laugh. It's still very witty, but it's not that rapid fire. It's just accosting you with humor constantly.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's what I like about it, because it is something I can have in the background. I can hop into any episode. I could probably hop back into season 3 and be like, oh, I generally know what's going on, which is just like, again, the kind of show I need right now for sure. Just something very light and silly and funny. I did want to mention that because this is a Canadian show, or at least it's a lot of Canadian actors, which it's so funny because I did not catch this the first time, but I think in one of the early episodes, Jocelyn comes by with Nanaimo bars, which I fucking love Nanaimo bars, and that's a very Canadian thing. And I was like, oh gosh, I didn't notice this. I'm like, an American person would never make Nanaimo bars for anybody. So this is a very distinctly Canadian thing.
I was about to say, this is the first time I'm hearing about them. So
yeah, I live there and I don't remember them.
They're super, well, it's like coconut, and actually I don't know what's in it, but they're very fucking tasty.
It's like they're Cliff Bars or something.
Kind of. You know, I'll have to look up what's in them because I think they fucking slap. My partner does hate them though, but he's also incorrect on that. Let's see.
It's like he's also wrong.
Yes, exactly. It's a wafer, some sort of nut, coconut crumb base, and like chocolate on top. So, and it's like a no bake kind of dish that's like very common for like, you know, family gatherings because it's easy and just throw it together. It's a little coconutty, but it's very tasty. But yeah, I was like in episode 3 and I was like, Nanaimo bars. I was so excited. I was like, oh, sorry, this is a distinctly Canadian show.
Yeah, no, there were several things I had to kind of like point out with Emily, like aside from like the parents' relationship. It was just like Alexis's and David's relationship. I was just like, she's just like, I love their dynamic. It's like, you didn't have a sibling growing up. You don't understand the sibling dynamic. I do love like the family roast sessions that they typically like end the episodes with, because they're always just so like, yes, the family that just insults each other all the time.
Absolutely.
And like, you know, a lot of the intergenerational humor of just like, you know, boomer, millennial, just kind of like kids these days, and like, did they just say like that wrong word as millennials? Just like very funny, always pretty good.
Well, good. I'm so happy that you both liked. I really thought like you're gonna be like, I'm sorry, Brie, it's the worst. It's so terrible. And I'd be like, oh, I didn't realize we couldn't be friends. That's such a bummer. Such a bummer to find out this way.
There was a minute where I was gearing up for like, you know, I didn't love it, but yeah, I liked it.
I mean, it definitely falls under the category, and like this is a common theme of, I feel like, between like the things Brie recommends and how I react to them. It's like, this isn't something that I would have actively chosen to watch on my own, but I definitely enjoyed it on its own merits.
That's why I'm the personality hire. So
yeah,
it's just like we definitely didn't need like a blue-haired alt girl specifically just keep it from being 2 white dudes on a podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm the diversity hire also. Oh no. Oh god, guys. Whoops.
Great signs for the show.
Yes.
All green flags.
Yep.
Everywhere.
No problematic stuff happening here.
Nope.
No, not ever.
Which leads us to our sponsor. Insert problematic sponsor read here.
Sticker mule.
My Pillow. What was the?
Sponsored by G Fuel.
those weird purple mattresses that give people lung cancer? What were those? Oh, BetterHelp. That's who.
There it is.
Yeah, BetterHelp. I was about to go. It's just like, we're now sponsored by the Lunchables made by Mr. Beast and Logan Paul.
Oh, man. I love moldy cheese.
Look, I just want to get us to the level of internet popularity where we can start saying no to sponsors.
Oh god, that's the fucking
right.
Like that's where I want us to get to. It's just like I want us to get those like horrible like sponsors. It's just like, would you like to be supported by this thing that probably gives people cancer? I'd be like, no.
Yes.
Like I will personally respond to those emails with like, get fucked.
Yeah. Well, and there's some where you just sign up and be like, yeah, you can put ads on the podcast. And then they throw on just ads that work for whatever region it's been downloaded in. Yeah. I was listening to Behind the Bastards and I got a like gold coin ad that was like, this commemorative Trump gold coin. Well, like, I'm like, this show does not support Trump. And they like announced it later and they're like, yeah, we're sorry about that one. That one was weird. We got to vet that better.
No. Yikes.
Yeah, no, that's the weird thing now, especially with podcast services. They have the automated, mid-rolls and stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm going to turn that off. If we do ever take a sponsor, one, it needs to be vetted. Two, it needs to be something we would actually fucking use.
Yeah.
And we need to get creative with ads. You see YouTubers do that these days where they turn it into a skit, they turn it into something like that.
Like I've
always thought it would be really funny to do a dramatic reading of the exact ad copy they send over. So like you split it up between two, or in this case, 3 people, and then we all just like take turns dramatically reading off.
We just all have to like
copy.
record like ourselves like doing like the dramatic reading, and then I have to like cut it together to make it look like we're like acting something out.
Perfect.
That'd be so good.
I was specifically thinking about it for the audio, but yeah, that would be really good too.
But yeah. But yeah, no, regardless, just like that's another conversation for another day of specifically how like online ads work. But
actually, on that note, though, I went on Twitter recently. Obviously, a huge mistake. And I got an ad for like a foot fetish website. Like right away, I was like, "Wow, really? We're just jumping right into this."
So what's going on with your algorithm, Brie, to where you're getting those ads served to you?
It's funny because like I don't have an algorithm because I don't fucking use Twitter. I was actually trying to read up on some Twitch drama because I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was irrelevant. It's a bunch of irrelevant people being irrelevant. But yeah, literally the first app I was like, oh wow, this okay. And it was like, look at these yummy feet, blah blah blah. I was like, oh my god, I gotta go.
I was about to say, were they trying to get you to look at feet, or were they just like, hey, you're a girl, would you let people pay money to see your feet?
First of all, yes, but no, that's not what the ad was.
Well, I mean, you are fairly highly rated on WikiFeet.
Yeah, Seth would be the one who would look this up.
He's got it on his favorites for sure.
Yeah.
He just keeps track of everybody from the LTA days of like everybody's WikiFeet ranking. It's how he feels, superior as long as he's above like certain people.
Absolutely, that's
definitely better than Mitch.
I know somebody from Movie Club who sold feet pics.
Oh no! We all do. We all collectively know who you're talking about.
I couldn't remember if you guys were in on that.
We were in that specific circle of people who knew about that.
I found her Tumblr.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh God.
I think that's
I'm not into feet.
Me neither.
It was the morbid curiosity of a mutual person that we all know about that made that fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, when is it not fun to like be on, r/Gone Wild and see like, oh yeah, I recognize that part. Oh my God, it's da-da-da. Have you ever had that happen? Because I've had it happen twice, and that's a lot.
That's a lot. It really is.
I'm just saying there are people who I have known since grade school who now have OnlyFans accounts. So
that's fair. Hey,
get that bag,
it's a great way to make money.
Hey,
listen, get
again,
that bag.
No hate, we support sex workers here, but
absolutely.
It's just weird. It's just like, I've known you since we were in 5th grade. I don't know how to feel about this.
And that's your whole everything.
Yep.
Wowie.
We worked together for 6 months, and now I've seen everything.
Oh,
Uh,
good to see.
Speaking of things that we people
So what were
knew
we talking about?
Yeah, I was like, wait,
I was about to say,
wait.
speaking of things developing after, years and years, When We Were Young Fest happened, I think, was it last week or recently?
Yeah,
So,
it was last week.
For people who don't know what When We Were Young Fest is, it's basically the spiritual successor to Vans Warped Tour in that it's billed as a bunch of bands that were relevant 10, 15, 20 years ago.
It's, hey, millennials, remember when you were teenagers and you saw all these bands for $30? Come pay $400 to see them again.
Yeah.
What a steal in this economy. Wow.
Yep.
I don't need groceries. You're right.
I don't know how much tickets actually were.
Doesn't matter. I can't afford them.
That sounds pretty accurate. That 400 number sounds right in my head when you say it out loud.
I'm looking it up right
now. Okay.
But yeah, no, I saw quite a bit of stuff coming out of that. I know there was some drama with some of the bands. I knew, I saw a lot of people who are basically too young to be at a festival called When We Were Young Fest, and like they were trash talking a lot of the bands and like rating super low headliners. I'm just like, why are you there?
Yeah, this isn't for you. This is for us.
325, by the way, 325 to 550 is the average general admission. So you are not far off at all. And that's like, that's the bottom tier.
Ticketmaster fees and tax, that puts me right at 4.
Yeah, no question.
No, that puts it like 450.
But still, you were in the ballpark regardless.
Yay!
Oy.
Also, we would be remiss if we didn't mention all of the Pete Key drama that came out of this being the first time Fall Out Boy and MCR have played together since 2005. This is a very big deal. I see neither of you are aware of this.
I was like, I know Fall Out Boy is very related to Chicago, and that is all I have to give to this conversation.
I was about to say, I think I remember something like all the songs Pete Wentz have ever run have been about Mikey Way. That's a meme.
According to lore, just about every song that Pete Wentz has written for Fall Out Boy in the entirety of the catalog of Fall Out Boy is written about Mikey Way and a situationship that they had in 2005.
Right.
Mikey Way being the bassist from My Chemical Romance.
Interesting.
They have not interacted or been seen together or anything since.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. This is a huge ship that's been going on for years, and they like kind of played into it a little at the show of like they were seen hanging out together. They were seen like driving off together after the festival was over. And like, so this is big news for Pete Key fans.
Oh, finally, their time has come.
Yeah, I'm not, but I know two of my dearest friends are one a Fall Out Boy fan and the other a My Chemical Romance fan, and both of them would be mad at me if I didn't bring this up.
Very important lore.
Yes.
Written on the scrolls of the emo girl.
They're finally unraveling. Just like, so it's years old.
With their bangs and bun hairs going with the thick eyeliner and the Raw Means I Love You t-shirt.
Oh, God.
Raw XD.
Yeah.
Like you didn't make that your banner on MySpace. Did we have banners on MySpace? I don't remember. There was a bulletin board. I remember that.
Oh, God,
I just remember all of us finding the perfect background on HTML like sites.
Matrix green code falling down.
Oh yeah.
But part of the controversy with this festival is that All American Rejects pulled out at the last minute because the festival wasn't being accommodating to them. It was then revealed that the festival had decided that everyone who was going to be playing on it would be playing a specific album in its entirety, without telling any of the bands. And so, pretty much everyone was like surprised, but like a lot of people were like, we'll go along with it. Then my All American Rejects were like, hey, we don't want to play that record. That one doesn't have our hits on it. Can we play the one that people know? And the festival was like, no.
I was about to say, didn't they just reunite and are touring an album right now? Or I remember seeing that something.
I don't
about
know.
That. I know they like released a cover recently, but my understanding is that they just reunited, and I think they were touring a new album, and you would imagine that they would at least want to play something off of the new album. Not necessarily like the full album in its entirety, but at least like let us play like the new single or something.
Yeah, let us, and that's what it is, right? And like other bands were bringing that up, like, okay, if I'm gonna play a full record, can I play songs that like other people want to hear too? Like, can I fit that in as well? And Coheed and Cambria, another issue, was a few days before the festival. The festival itself realized that the album they wanted them to play was too long for their slot, so they came back to them and said, okay, you're gonna have to find a different record. You're gonna have to do something else. Just come up with it. Figure it out yourself. Like just a few days before the festival.
Weird.
Like, come up with a new set. We're not extending the time. We're asking you to play this record that's too long and then not giving you the time.
Yeah, that's like, I was about to say, like, if you're I don't like the idea of a venue or a festival like dictating to the bands like what their set list has to be. I understand like the time slots, like logistics. Yeah, logistics are logistics. Let's be fair, but I think bands should have the right to decide what their set list are going on because they're the ones who tour and play these songs, and they know what their hits are and what fans are there who are going to see. And like even bands have like some of those like sleeper favorites where it's just like there might only be 3 people in the crowd who know this one, but the 3 people in the crowd that know this one are going to be super hyped about it.
Yeah.
Like I just saw a radio interview with the lead singer of Rise Against at the one of my local radio stations, and he was talking about how like there was a kid in the crowd who had like a t-shirt on that said "Play Paper Wings, you coward," which is like not one of their hits. Mm-hmm. But he was just like, kid wants us to play Paper Wings, gonna play Paper Wings. We haven't played this song in like maybe 10 years, but let's go. It's like that
that's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's what live music is about, being able to give those moments to an audience.
And like, I'll be honest, like it sucks when I go to like shows every now and again because it's just like, yeah, I know you guys have like certain hits, but like there's other songs on your discography I really love and I wish you would play live, but then they just end up not playing it live.
Yeah. But ultimately what ended up happening is it seems like some bands played the full record. Other bands just said, we're just going to get up and do our own set. There wasn't really pushback.
I was about to say, that's probably what I would have ended up doing if I was like playing in that environment. It's just like, I'm just going to do what are they going to do? Cut off my set?
Yeah. Like, well, they did cut off the used. Well,
I heard that the used went over though.
Yeah, that's the used. That's what their singer does. He talks.
Yeah.
Like...
No, I thought he was canceled.
I don't know.
But this also seems like I was about to say this does seems like the kind of festival that would have canceled people on, especially since they're playing mid 2000s Warped Tour music. Yeah. So
different time. It was a very different time.
Yes, 303 was there. You put him on a Saturday afternoon. Yeah. And you're fine.
Yeah, going back to that kid who was like rating acts at when we were young. I think it was Taking Back Sunday. It's just like I was told that this band sucks live, and it's just like, yeah, they suck live. It's like, yeah, they've always sucked live. The singer spends more time swinging around the microphone than he does singing into the microphone.
But it looks so cool.
That's all that really matters.
Yes.
Oh, man.
It is. As somebody who has been on a stage before, it is.
Yeah.
I don't care how many times I've had a beer bottle thrown at me and been booed and said, get off the stage. What are you doing, freak? Why do you look like that? And how does it even sound like that? Get out. You fucking monster. What the fuck is wrong with you? So, like, musicians deal with a lot.
So this week on Cess Therapy Session...
That's a string of insults from one person the entire time.
Yeah. This is all
and
one
it's just
person.
My mom.
Good. It's a silly episode, guys.
Yeah.
We all got our silly pants on.
Again, we're pre-gaming for election night.
We are, yeah. We're a little loopy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This kind
it's
of
all that
event
nervous
sounds like
energy.
Yeah, exactly. This event sounds like a nightmare to me. Honestly, I can't think of a thing that I'd want to go to less.
I mean, most music festivals are that way, in my opinion, where it's just...
I've never been to one. I never fucking will, because I was like, I need to know where the nearest bathroom is, where the snacks are, and how quickly I can get out of there. What's the parking like? Probably a nightmare. So I'm out immediately.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a music festival person. I'm definitely more of a this band's coming to town touring with this band. Both bands, maybe I like one more than the other, but I listen to some of the stuff from the other band and then see who's opening for them. Maybe it's a local crew. Maybe it's somebody who's kind of just starting out. 3 bands, done. Go home for the night. Done.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Too old.
That's a nice evening. I will say though, Sick New World in April, that's looking tempting to me. I doubt either of you. It's metal festival. Okay. So Meshuggah, Mastodon, Death Clock, Cannibal Corpse, Metallica, 3 Days Grace with Adam Gontier, Evanescence, a bunch of other like really heavy. 3 Days Grace is not metal; they're just hard rock. They're post grunge. But like with the original singer, that's neat. So that's tempting to me personally.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see. Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's one of those things where it's just like I've accepted that a lot of the bands and music that I grew up listening to, it's just like, you know what? You don't necessarily need to see them anymore. Wouldn't it be the same?
Yeah. I don't need to see it. Like if it were just 3 Days Grace, I'm not going to see it. I'm not flying out to Vegas for a weekend to see 3 Days Grace.
Absolutely
no one
not.
is.
But like that full lineup, there's enough there, and depending on how it's kind of dispersed, I could see that being a really good time.
Yeah.
For someone.
Yeah.
Oh,
but yeah, I don't see myself ever going to a When We Were Young, and I definitely don't see myself going to Warped Tour revival. Or no, absolutely not.
It is Warped Tour. They're doing 3 cities over 3 different weekends, and tickets start at $150.
Ooh, a steal.
Yeah.
Comparatively a steal.
I would have to see which bands are going to be there.
I know, I'm trying to find the lineup.
It hasn't been announced yet.
Oh no, okay.
Yeah, if there was at least like maybe like 3 or 4 bands that there's no way I'm going to see again in a while, I would maybe commit to that, but yeah. I don't want.
I'm going to pull a millennial.
Go ahead.
$31.25. Taxes and fees included.
Yep.
Oh. Wowie.
Thanks, Ticketmaster. You've done such a great thing for the music industry.
Truly. Oh my god.
Definitely should not be
derail what you were saying.
Definitely you should not get, brought up in antitrust litigation whatsoever.
No, not at all.
Shouldn't get broken up and, completely dissolved. Or your anti-competitive practices and price gouging.
Well, if we don't have Ticketmaster, who else will sell us tickets at a gouged price?
Yes.
The venue.
True.
I would say that they can sell to other people too, right? Or that other people can use those tickets. Wasn't that the problem with the Kendrick Lamar concert, that a bunch of people didn't get their tickets?
There's so many problems with it.
Well, a lot of people, I guess they did something incorrectly where a bunch of people got to go into the concert for free because they claimed their somebody else's Ticketmaster tickets, and then they wouldn't refund anybody for the stolen tickets. It was quite a few people that didn't get to go to the Kendrick Lamar concert, which is such a bummer because, man, that concert was probably the fucking highlight of the year. So.
Don't worry, they still have the Super Bowl halftime show to look forward to.
Oh, that's the only reason I'm watching, baby. Let me tell you, it's gonna be so fucking good. I've never cared about sports before, and I never will again.
It's just like, I'm just here so I can watch Kendrick call Drake a pedophile in front of billions of people, and then I'm just gonna turn it off.
Yeah.
Do you hear that A minor line in a whole fucking stadium? Oh my god, that's gonna be
and so everyone screaming it back.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Oh, nothing better.
So good.
Thank you, Kendrick, for being around. We need you in these trying times.
A true beacon of light in a dark, otherwise dark time.
Has anybody checked on Drake? Has he offed himself yet?
No. Do we care?
I mean, I'm not saying I care. I just want to know.
I think wherever he's hiding, he's going, thank God the P. Diddy stuff came out after this.
You know what? For sure. He is so happy about that. Oh, man.
But it's only, a week until we find a picture of him at a white party.
Oh, I would not be shocked.
Yeah. Probably.
Oof.
What a timeline we live in.
Yep.
It's the worst one.
Okay, please. Was his plain white tees cover real? Drake?
I hope not. I genuinely
Because I heard it a lot on TikTok. I refuse to believe that was anything but AI. I never looked it up.
Again,
Let's see if we can find out.
It's at that level where, like, we've talked about this before, where like AI music, like, is the most passable thing AI does because it's so, especially with digital music production today, it's so easy for them to just like scan and like put out a thing.
Yeah, Drake, scan a voice and put it over something.
Drake is like the most, like, I 100% believe this is real, but if you told me it was AI, I would also believe you. Because Drake is just in that category for me, where it's just like, I don't even believe he sings on any of his actual songs.
On his actual albums.
Yeah.
I can't confirm if that's real or not. I'm like, the AI stuff is obviously terrible and awful, but I do really like the Plankton cover of Pink Pony Club, because let me tell you, that does something for me.
That ruined that song for me. I can't listen to it anymore.
I've been getting that, and I've also been getting a lot of different cartoons doing Shaggy's It Wasn't Me.
Oh,
so
okay.
Like, there's a King of the Hill. There's a King of the Hill version where it's like Bobby's doing like the main like melodic stuff, and then like the rapping part is like Hank Hill from King of the Hill. I've heard a Scooby and Shaggy version. I've heard of like there's a lot of different versions out there that are just AI
fun.
generated.
I don't mind that. That's all good fun.
But the thing is, like, it's transparent about what it is. It's
correct.
Yeah, yes. Exactly.
Play this song as if it was sung by this cartoon character, and nobody's pretending that like this was an original piece.
Yes,
we know exactly what it is.
Yeah. There was one, this one didn't have to do with music, but that was on my For You page for a while, and then they went away. But it was like Obama, Biden, and Trump playing Minecraft together.
Yeah, I remember that.
And being in chat. Yeah, that was fun.
So they would have the gaming headsets on, and it would just like show, and it was like, yeah, it was clearly AI voice of them, but it was just so funny. It was like, Donald Trump, you stupid slut. And like Obama's voice.
There's like one where they're talking about pre-gaming and like what they're going to eat. And one of them's like, no, I'm just not going to eat and I'll drink at the bar. I'll get drunk super fast anyway. And the other two are like, no, you'll get sick. Don't do that. Biden, you'll get like, it's pretty great.
Fun. I can fuck with that. Like that's the only good use of AI, I think. So
yeah,
there's definitely like, meme culture-ness of the use of AI. But like, again, it comes back to the transparency thing of it. Of just like, this is clearly, obviously, anybody watching, any reasonable human knows it's AI and that it's a joke. But then you get into the deep fakeness stuff that comes out every now and again, then that creates a whole nother issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of stuff I was seeing with deep fakes where it was like NFL coaches at press conferences. And like, if you didn't catch on right away, you'd be convinced that those coaches actually were saying the things they were saying. And I was just like, that's horrifying.
Well, deepfakes have been scary for a minute.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, no, it's pretty terrifying. And like, it also doesn't help that, a lot of websites that have like web-based content have been basically using data, using videos and audio and stuff to train these things that were like downloaded years ago, things that like we weren't even thinking about AI when we uploaded it.
Yeah.
And they're just using that as training data without getting anybody's consent for that to be used in that way.
Of course.
It's the future. You got to join this. You got to hop on this bandwagon. It's gonna make us all money. Stock prices up.
I already sent you all of the memes of like calling them clankers and like getting ready for Clone Wars level stuff.
I was gonna make a video about that because I was like, but I couldn't figure out the wording. But it's like, boy, us white people will always white people, right? The second we're able to come up with a new slur, we're like, yes, all right. Here we go.
That was very good. It was like, did you know? It's just like, so is being racist toward robots okay? Yes, cool. We're calling them clankers.
Yep. All right, cool. We get to be racist against something. Finally. Everyone's okay with this one? Yeah? Yes.
As long as they're Tesla bots, I am okay with this.
All right.
Oh, goodness. Simply the worst.
Yes.
Speaking of stuff we've gotten into trouble for talking about before, I saw a group of teens in the wild using a VR headset.
Oof.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh no.
That's no good.
It was the most worst thing is they were ditching class to go play VR at a parking garage.
Ditching class that's rad as hell, and you should do that
cool.
at least a couple times a week. Go smoke cigarettes. Don't be fucking on VR.
This is coming from the kid that was home.
Go be fucking in the van you're borrowing from your mom for the week because you couldn't handle your car and you drove it into the cliffside. Like, don't be in VR.
I would just like to state for the record, Seth is the one that went to homeschool.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Regardless, yes, he is correct to all those things because I did all of those things when I was in high school.
Absolutely, that's what you do.
I lost my virginity driving a girl to the park that was like 10 blocks away from the school in my dad's truck.
While he was driving, she was bouncing. It was real. It was not great. He was speeding. They almost got pulled over.
Seth was there. That's how he knows about this.
Yeah.
This was like,
well, you were 25.
This was 2 years before I knew Seth, but he was there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I see all. I am omniscient.
Yeah. Seth actually is Jesus.
Yeah.
That's why he makes us watch all this religious trauma content.
Oh, it's all coming together.
All makes sense.
I'm working you up to God's Not Dead, and then that's when I'm gonna spring the conversion on you.
You know what? If you made us watch God's Not Dead, I would absolutely watch it, but I would require us all to do like a live video commentary of it.
That's fair. That'd be. I could be persuaded into that. Actually,
I don't know if I can. That might be
okay, but it would be under the same rules I have with Emily about watching the Twilight movies. Is that I have to be like top 5 hammered.
That could be fun. That could be fun. Yeah. Okay, I'm in.
Like, it's just my blood alcohol content is like you should not even be alive right now.
Yeah, we could turn into a drinking game. That'd be so fun.
Ooh.
That would be a lot of fun. Wait, I'm in.
Yeah. All right. Yep. All right.
I'm a better Seth is better at selling stuff than we thought he was. But yeah, anyways, getting to the point of the conversation. So yeah, I was.
What was that?
But no, like I was straight up.
But afterwards, you guys are gonna have to read some pamphlets and a couple tracks.
Just really quick. Just slide those over.
Sorry.
Regardless, so yeah, I was driving through the parking garage near my work because I was gonna go get some drone footage, so I was gonna drive to the top of it and then launch the drone from there. But like as I'm driving up there, yeah, it's just like a group of teenagers just like grouped up, and like one of them had like I think it was a MetaQuest or something on, and was like straight up just playing VR games in the middle of a parking lot.
Oh.
And I was just like, this has to be an outlier. This isn't a normal thing, right?
Yeah. Well,
I guess at least we're outside, yeah.
See, like, it would have been one thing if it was just like one guy there on a VR headset. Then you'd be like, okay, this person clearly is autistic. It's whatever. This is his thing.
Yeah.
But like, it was him.
He's into tech.
It was him with like at least like 9 other teens all gathered in the parking lot. So I'm just
and did they all have headsets or
no,
just the one?
Just the one dude. They were taking turns apparently. Like they were like I guess in rotation line to use the headset.
That just looks like a bad time, to be honest. I'm more concerned that they're not having enough fun. That's interesting.
I was about to... When I was a kid, we tarred and feathered cars, and they're out here standing in a circle with their hot dangled fancy machinery.
I was about to say back in my day, like we just like sat in a corner and played our DSs. We didn't need a full headset on.
Yeah. Okay, that is actually fair. We are making fun of them for playing video games outside, and when we sat around like playing Pokemon on our Game Boys outside.
It's just,
okay, all right.
I was about to say, Seth, you and me were both Yu-Gi-Oh kids. We both know we did stupid stuff.
Yep. The backs of so many cards are scraped up with concrete because we're like, yeah, we can just play here. Dark magician.
But yeah, I definitely had my Skinner moment of just like, no, it's the children that are wrong.
That moment comes for us all. I don't get how anybody can be comfortable wearing VR in public at all.
That was the weird thing
for it.
That's the thing that I thought was weird about it, because like the idea of somebody having a VR headset and like they may be like, oh yeah, like maybe an hour or so session every night, there's like one game I'm really like and eat VR. It's just like, yeah, sure, you do you spend your money and time. It was seeing it in the wild and like the most like kind of like out of context way I could have possibly seen it was the thing that made me go, what's happening here? I'm so confused.
Yeah, it is interesting.
It was like the first like dystopian thing of just like, this seems very out of place.
It's begun. Oh no. Yeah, that's weird. I still have yet to see because the MetaQuest 3 does have augmented reality features like the Vision Pro.
Right.
So I haven't seen anybody with either out. Right. I see a hell of a lot more Cybertrucks than I see augmented reality.
I see too many Cybertrucks now. It's like I mentioned last podcast, it's just not funny anymore. Like, it just makes me sad now that I'm like, man, people have too much money. Just like at some point, you just have too much money because you have lost all sense of taste, clearly.
The funny thing is, I think it's actually the same crowd of people who bought like, you know, the dumb lifted trucks that they never take or use for what you would need a lifted truck for, because I'm seeing a lot less lifted trucks out in the wild, but I'm seeing a lot more Cybertrucks. So I think you're right. Some of them started to trade in. So.
I think there's a direct correlation there. I think you're absolutely right.
That makes sense. Musk is a big thumper.
He's fighting with Cardi B, though, which I really love. I don't know if you guys have seen any of that. Cardi B, by the way, a fucking icon, a feminist icon. If you don't love Cardi B, you really should, because she's fucking amazing. And yeah, she's just going to town on him on Twitter because he's just being a fucking little bitch, as he always is. And she's just be like, actually, I grew up with immigrant parents and they worked hard as hell, and you haven't worked for a fucking thing in your life, you fucking cuck. And I'm just like, Cardi, my girl. Yeah. I fucking love her so much.
So good.
Yes.
Oy.
But yeah, at this point, would either of you buy even just a VR headset?
I don't see myself buying one at any point. With
the disposable income I have, for sure, dude. Yeah.
Were it cheap enough?
No, I just like, I don't think I'd get enough functionality. Like, it's such a novelty thing for me, because I know we've discussed this before, but I'm like, if I had somebody I knew who had it, like, I would maybe occasionally come over and play it, but like that would be absolutely it. Like, it's just not it for me. There's not enough content there, and it's, I don't know, also just having something on my head for that period of time, like I feel like it crushes my skull, and that doesn't feel good. I'd rather like something away from my body.
Hard disagree. I love getting a good skull crushing, but that's a sexual thing.
I was about to say that's a completely separate issue.
Different context.
Yeah, I think specifically is there's too much friction to the use of it. Like Brie's saying, like there's still issues that people get with motion sickness. There's certain level of discomfort that some people get wearing the headsets themselves. Like it's still just too niche, and there is not the killer appness of it to where I don't think it's ever going to meet mass market appeal that, you know, smartphones have. You know, smartphones are basically ubiquitous at this point because basically there's just universal appeal to them. Whereas, like, VR headsets, it's like you have to just really be into it, and I think it's just way too niche, and I don't think it's ever going to hit.
Yeah, I agree. And two I'm just like, I have too many sensory issues. I think that, like, it's just a nightmare long term, so I can't imagine I would be okay with one long term. And there's not enough content out there, so it's fucking expensive. I have a gaming PC. I'm fine.
And they don't solve a universal problem either. Like, they cause more problems than they solve.
Absolutely.
Like, there's not even a accessibility argument to be had with them, really, because honestly, there's more accessibility issues with them than they actually could solve for certain people.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't know what the accessibility, like, support is on them these days, but, like, my understanding is just, like, I see this being a big problem for a lot of people.
Yeah. That's actually a good point, because I can't imagine there are a lot of accessibility. Like, because I know there's like the closeness to the head, there's the sound, there's the visual. Like, I'm like, that's going to be very overwhelming for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. I don't even know how they could make that more accessible. So I doubt there's a big enough market for it to have them make it accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, this is what's gonna make Zuckerberg go broke.
Yay!
Finally.
Look, I still want that cage fight between Zuckerberg and Musk.
Please.
Hey, we're
Desperately.
getting Tyson and Paul soon. It's not the same, but at least we'll get to watch Logan Paul get his ass beat.
Are
By
they
an
both
elderly.
bad, the Paul brothers? I was trying to figure that out because one of them endorsed Trump the other day, and I can't tell them apart. They're both bad, right?
They're both, yeah, pretty
I
much.
think they're both bad.
Yeah, they're both.
Okay.
They're the same. They both share the same brain cell,
Okay.
as far as I can tell.
Yes. And it unfortunately is the brain cell that decided to upload the footage from the suicide forest.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
How did that not end their career?
I saw somebody as him on that on Halloween.
Oh yeah.
He was wearing the blue jacket with the Toy Story ears with the 3 eyes. You guys don't remember the video.
I know. I remember the video. I know
saw it.
exactly what you're talking about, but I'm just like, yeah, no. The only one I saw in the wild that was like had me double take was somebody did Dave Chappelle's like crackhead costume, and he had like the hat and like he actually put like the white powder on his lips.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like,
good.
yeah, that's not bad. That was a good one.
Appreciate that.
Actually,
Yeah.
that reminds me. I don't know if you have like. I unfortunately am occasionally on cosplay TikTok for no reason. I don't want to be there.
It's the
but,
thirst traps. It's fine.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I fucking wish, but I don't even get that. I don't get the good content.
I've noticed that the thirst trap like volume has gone down over time.
I think it's the
Yeah.
drama. Unfortunately, I think there's so much drama in the cosplay world that I think that's the content I keep
absolutely.
getting. But somebody just cosplayed as P Diddy and Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
and
I saw that one.
yeah, which was the guy's argument was that he wasn't wearing blackface because it was a mask over his face. I was like, why are we still talking about blackface in 2024, my dear? Like, how is this still happening?
On TikTok, I saw somebody stitching P. Diddy and a bottle of baby oil. It was a couple's costume.
Yeah, that's the one I remember.
And he was in blackface.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just how is this still happening? Also, just sidebar, poor Justin Bieber. I really he had a terrible fucking life.
Yeah,
I really feel awful for him.
absolutely.
The more footage that's coming out of him like being like kind of just sexually harassed like on TV, like very often by women. I'm just like, this is really fucked. That poor fucking kid. It's a wonder that
Wow.
he's functional at all.
Well, he
It
wasn't
is.
for a while.
Yeah,
No.
fucking kidding. I don't know how he would be. That sucks.
Again, I only want to be the level of famous to where we can start turning down sponsors on the show.
That is
Yep.
it.
That's it.
That is my baseline. Once we start getting DMs from underage people, that's when we cut it off.
Yeah, that's when we implode the whole thing.
Yeah, it's just like shut it down.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, so we like talking about shows that we enjoy quite a bit. That's the whole kind of point of the, homework section, what we do. But what's kind of some horrible media that you guys have consumed that you guys just like, this is trash and everybody should feel bad about it?
Ooh.
Oh.
I can go first.
Please do. I might need to think on this.
Yeah.
So recently,
Yeah.
one of my buddies from work decided to message me on Discord and sent me the first episode of his podcast.
Ooh.
And so there was just so much wrong with it, and like it was one of those things where
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, so for starters, like they're recording on like gamer headsets, you can tell based on the audio quality.
Great start.
They're recording in
Yes.
VR chat, so like the
Oh.
video portion is VR chat, and like the intro is like pure millennial brain rot, like just
no.
nonsense kind of stuff. And literally they started the show basically with one guy just talking about like, I can't smoke weed anymore and I can't hang out with my mom because all she does is smoke weed. I'm just like, this is your content?
Where is it?
Yeah. Where's the...
And so like I had a conversation. I actually saw him the other day, and like he was talking about it. It's like, yeah, no, you sent it to me. I watched it, and he's like, yeah, what'd you think? I was just like, all right, I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm going to be as constructive as I can be with you.
Yes.
On it.
Gonna be ginger here.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I recognize
Gingerly?
that I recognize that this show, Internet Friends, is not the gold standard of podcast on the internet. But like there's
pumpkin.
There's a semblance of structure that we have. Semblance of.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
We all put in quite a bit of an effort into actually making the show work. I think that we at least...
I do not. I do not.
It's like, let's be clear.
And like, I think I put enough effort into the production quality. You guys always come in with really good amount of energy. I think we all have decent enough chemistry. And like, we come in ready to talk and not just do the two white dudes on a microphone just being like, riff and then go. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
and every few minutes, Brie gets in, and then we just continue talking.
Or like it's just like Brie gets like
I'm
half.
lucky.
Brie gets half a sentence in, and it's just like, so. Anyways, Brie, what you really haven't got?
Yeah.
What you really need to do.
A lot of us asking Brie questions and then answering them for her.
Responding to everything Brie says with actually.
Yeah.
As she deals with in her regular life all the time too.
Oh, God. Fun for me.
Yeah,
but
so
no,
great.
But like it was just one of those things where it's just like it was so bad that I didn't even know where to start. And so I was like, is there anything that you guys have seen that have just made you go like, this is so bad, why does this exist?
Fuck. See,
I'll have to look it up. I know there's a podcast but no, please go, Seth, because I need to look it up. But there's a podcast I'm thinking of.
I really love bad movies. So there are definitely movies I've seen where I'm like, yeah, I've had that thought, but I also really enjoyed viewing it. So I don't know if that actually counts.
But see, there's a difference there because like bad movies, like there's like a semblance of like somebody somewhere put an effort into this.
That's true. That is true.
Where it's just like there's a lot of content out there where it's just like there's like almost no effort put into it, and it's like, why does this exist and why am I seeing it?
Oh, I can't tell that story. Shit, I just realized my thing, and I can't tell that story. Fuck.
You know it's bad when Seth says he can't tell that story.
I was saying, yeah, absolutely.
You know it's bad.
Yeah.
I would know.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
We don't have to use names.
A few years ago, a friend of mine self-financed a short film that premiered at Alamo Drafthouse.
Mm-hmm.
He invited me because he's like, you've worked in audio, you've done video editing and stuff. Like you know about this. Come to the premiere, come see the movie and tell me what you think afterwards. It's just the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It was like a comedy horror. It was just fucking terrible. All of the acting was bad. The script made no sense. Just on every level, it was bad. And afterwards, I'm at the premiere. I now have to talk to everybody involved with the movie and be like, and with every single one, so what'd you think? And me being like, God, you were great.
So you basically just experienced what it was like being friends with anybody in the film program out of college.
Yeah, okay.
Because there are so many people, like, in film programs especially, who, like, you know, just, like, whether they want to be a director, whether they want to be a tech person, whether they want to be, like, a writer, or, like, even, like, some of the actors who are in the theater department that they, like, you know, get to be in these short films. And, like, they act like they are just like, so what'd you think? It was great, wasn't it? And then you just, like, go, like, maybe you want to change majors. but some of those folks are also self-aware. It's just like, yeah, like, look, I'm in college, like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm kind of like just learning the basic skills here, and then I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time refining my craft, like, as I go along. But like, but again, the difference is the self-awareness. I think more than anything
the self-awareness else. This person already had previous experience in the industry. They should have known better.
Yeah.
That's the last I can say before, like, people in my own personal life will hear this and go, oh, he's talking about blank. So I got to stop now.
Fair enough. We won't let you dig the trench any further. But yeah, no, like,
Thank you.
I think that is what separates, like, intentionally bad content that's bad for the like sake of being bad, and like just like kind of stuff. It's just like you lack any self-awareness of what you did and how good this is. And it's just like,
and that was what surprised me. I was like, how did he not know? Oh fuck, I did a gender. How did they not know? How did
That's human being.
But I'm like, the whole time I'm like, they should know better. I've seen their other work with other people, and it's not this.
Yeah.
How is this what they're putting out?
Was it like a Zack Snyder situation where it's just like you had one good movie and then they decided to let you also write them?
It's worse than that, but I can't get into detail.
I'm not trying to pry and get you in trouble. I'm just curious because it's a fascinating work study.
Yeah. No, this was a wild story hearing how this movie came to be, but yeah, I can't. It's not my movie. I'm not going to talk about it.
Fair enough. Did you come up with anything?
Yeah, so there's two that I'm thinking of right off the bat. Unfortunately, I this must have been so long ago that I don't have it in my like list anymore, but I unfortunately don't remember the name of the podcast, but I used to listen to this podcast. It was recommended to me by a friend, and I really liked it at the get-go. It was like short horror stories, and it started just being narrated by this one woman, and she would kind of do all the voices for the characters, and she did the best she could, and it worked for what it was because they were such short stories, and I think they were actually very good, very chilling. But then I think they started hiring like family members or like friends to also narrate, because like, oh, we need different voices for this. And all of the other voices were so fucking terrible. Like, it was clearly just somebody they knew, because it derailed the whole fucking thing. I was like, this was so good, just one girl narrating the whole thing, and then they decided to bring friends in for a little variety, and it just went so down in quality, because like there was an older gentleman who sounded like he was in his 80s, and he would just I just try to put on voices, but it was just him with like a slight rasp or him with a slight lilt in his voice. And I'm just like, I can't fucking listen to this anymore. I'm like, this is so ridiculously bad. And actually,
so wait, they didn't bring on other voice performers to play individual characters. They just had different voice actors narrating the whole thing, still playing all of the characters.
Correct. And people who are not actual voice actors, clearly, yeah, it was such a bummer, because it was just like, it was very, again, it was a great premise. It was just like people would write in these short stories, this woman would narrate it and like do it all herself. But yeah, they decided to, they're like, oh, well, we have better production now, we can add a little bit more to this. And I was like, but what if you didn't, though? Because it just catapulted off that cliff, and it was so fucking sad. I'm gonna mention two more. Yeah, it was sad. I wish I could remember the name, and maybe it's changed. It's been a few years, but the second one I wanted to mention, which I feel really bad about this, but it's Let's Talk About Myths, Baby, which is a great name for a podcast. And she's Canadian, and I don't know where she's from in Canada, but she mispronounces every single fucking Greek name possible. And it just like
probably a newfie.
Honestly, I think so. I couldn't fucking let it go, because like, and this, I don't know how common knowledge this is, but like Kerberos, for example, there is no soft C sound in the Greek alphabet. So like people will say Cerberus, but that's not how it's pronounced. It's Kerberos, Kirke, things like that. So and she would just, like, she wouldn't even say Cerberus. She would just like, I don't even know what she said, but it just like, she would mispronounce the name so badly, where I'm like, why didn't you do just like a tiny bit more research to learn how to fucking say these words in a language you clearly don't know how to speak? Because it's almost disrespectful at some point, because it's interesting content. I love learning about mythology, but not if you're not going to take the time to learn how to fucking say things. Good God. Canadians, man. Yeah. I'm telling you.
Right?
Damn dirty Canadians.
I know. They're sometimes the worst. That's when they're talking about closing the border, I think that's the border they're talking about. Yeah. If somebody brings that up, you mentioned the Canadian border.
It's just like, we're going to build the wall. Mexico's going to pay for it, but it's not for their border. It's up north.
I've been saying for years, we're building the wall on the wrong border. Like, I am all for border security, but it's the north we got to watch out for.
See,
that's where the White Walkers are from.
Problem is that mall would end up being more to keep us in than it would be to keep them out.
Yeah.
110%.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
That's, oh my God, that actually is really depressing.
Yeah. There's also, we're not a political show, but there's, I think, 30,000, illegal Canadians in our country. And you know what's so weird? Nobody seems to be that mad about it. I can't figure out why that is.
No
what
idea.
Could it be?
So weird. It just doesn't add up. You know?
What is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the
it's
main
almost
ones.
as though they assume that like all immigrants look like specific people.
I know, it's weird. Well, maybe one day we'll figure it out. But yeah, that's all I got really. I will say, I don't know if either of you will find this funny, but I was really high and we were watching Only Murders in the Building the other day, me and my partner. And oh my God, I can't remember the actor's name, but oh my gosh, he was in the Marvel movie. It's called The Eternals, but I could not remember the name Eternals. And I was like, it's called like Invincibles or something. And I kept calling the movie Uncrustables. So now every time we talk about the movie, I'm just like, oh, my favorite snack and favorite movie, Uncrustables.
That's
Eternals
great.
is a bad movie. So I think that joke is probably the best thing to come out of that movie. It's so great.
Yeah, I think that's the first movie post Endgame that I just never watched.
It's very boring.
I saw Venom: The Last Dance, and boy, that movie just washed over me. It just happened and then like cleared itself of me after I left.
I didn't even know it was out.
It's all right. Yeah.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
Venom
dies.
I watched the pitch meeting. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really funny. I thought, Brie, you were gonna bring up maybe like streamers or stuff because I know you were on Twitch for a little while, and there's a lot of bad content on Twitch.
They're all bad, by the way, to be honest, because they all think they're famous. When I was on Twitter the other day, I was going over Twitch drama because people were feuding, and I was like, you guys have 2,000 followers, you're no one, like you are nobody, just so you're aware. Like you don't have beef, you don't have drama, you are a nobody. So
Twitch feels like it's like in like 2011 YouTube days where it's just like having 1,000 subscribers just made somebody act like they were hot shit.
Yes.
All of a sudden, it feels like they're in that stage where it's just because they only need however many followers to like become Twitch partners, and like the amount of money on Twitch right now is like really disproportionate to like how it should be.
Yep.
But yeah, like it's just like one of those things where it's just like I don't understand the content on Twitch half the time. I really don't understand.
It was fine when I was in quarantine and I had literally nothing else to do. Like that's when I was really into Twitch because I was deeply lonely, as we all were. That was the only time I enjoyed Twitch. Now that I don't have to do that, I don't understand why people still enjoy the content. So it's not funny.
The hot tubs were nice for a little while.
The hot tub streams. A golden era, truly.
Again, I think this was probably our first episode. I talked about how I tried going on Twitch to see what it was all about. It's just like, so is this just how everybody's marketing their OnlyFans now, that they can't say OnlyFans on TikTok? Is this what's happening?
It works
pretty much.
Oh goodness.
Speaking of like social media stuff, I've recently been getting recommended a bunch of just bizarre TikTok lives, and I've been recording them. But the one that goes along, not the whole thing, just a few minutes, just to remember, and I'm gonna do something with it eventually. Trust me, I'm not a weirdo. All right.
No one has ever accused you of that, Seth. Not in this Discord call.
Not moments ago.
But I got recommended one of this woman who was walking through Target in one of those like Power Ranger morph suits. It was the Pink Ranger, but without the mask up, wearing a pink bandana, doing dares, and like that would include like her getting in like on all fours and singing the song from The Lion King in the middle of Target. And then like crawling around and like squealing on the floor, doing circles, flirting with the mannequins. Like,
Just hit it up, or maybe
yeah,
like work at Chipotle or something. It's not that bad.
I just get people who are
Right.
playing Ocarina of Time randomizer. I'm not getting anything close to that.
No, dude, the one immediately after that I got, to just give you guys an insight into my For You page, was a dinosaur explaining dinosaur facts. So it was a guy with like a filter that had yeah, that was awesome.
Emily was getting like this random ASMR thing back in the day. I can't remember what it was, but there was like weird like goat glove fingertip things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that was a live stream she was getting on TikTok, and I was just like, nope.
No,
the puppet soup.
Me.
Okay, is what she called it.
Puppet soup. I think I've seen that too, actually.
I'm just saying, I don't like. I get live streaming, especially Twitch streaming, in a certain extent, especially in kind of certain games. But I think the whole genre has gone so homogenized at this point, and it seems like just such a difficult space to break into. Like it feels like it's just so oversaturated with people who just try it and like they don't necessarily know how to, you know, have camera presence and like really have the personality and stuff to kind of carry a live stream. Because like even when I've tried streaming on YouTube, it's always just like it's just watching me play a video game, and like especially if you don't have an audience in your chat to interact with, or somebody online that you're interacting with, it's hard to like just like act when it's just like, oh, I'm just playing a video game.
It's surprisingly hard to make that kind of content. I have thought about it before, just because like I have to play games a lot for Game Birds, and I'm just like, maybe it would be nice to kind of like stream this and just like chat with people at the same time. But I'm like, or I don't have to do that, or maybe I just don't. Maybe I could be in my pajamas with no makeup on in my room alone. So just a thought.
Maybe I don't need to make my hobby my complete career.
Yeah, and that's kind of where it kind of comes to. Like every time I think it's like, oh, you know, I could just stream myself playing this, and then like it's just like, yeah, you know, taking the time to set it up and everything, and then I'm just going to like have to like sit there on camera and just like I need to think about like what I'm doing or saying. And like most of the time nobody watches, so it's just kind of like I'm just doing this for no reason, just so there's an archive of me playing video games, which I don't necessarily feel comfortable with that being a thing.
More than fair.
It's better than other people's internet footprint, digital footprint.
Yep.
True. I mean, after 2016, I've already established just like anybody who says that I shouldn't be putting something on the internet is just like, look who got elected.
Yeah.
What I do on the internet does not matter.
Yeah.
It's fair. More than fair.
Anyways, so is there anything else we want to talk about tonight, guys?
They killed Peanut.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Who's Peanut? Oh, the squirrel?
Yeah,
the squirrel.
Yeah,
the raccoon.
I've heard about that, and I here's the thing. If I'm not mistaken, that person did not have the proper licenses for that, and which is not excusable. Like, I hate that they had to do that to those animals, but also there's a lot of laws around that stuff, and you have to be super fucking careful. And I'm only mentioning this because I have been to a fox rescue in Minnesota where they educated a lot of people on that, because there's a lot of shit with that. And also I follow Juniper Fox on Instagram, and they talk a lot about like, you have to be very careful if you're going to be handling and rehabilitating animals, because there's laws and regulations. And if you it's a public safety thing, because a lot of them are vectors for rabies. So
no, that's completely fair. I wish they hadn't peated them, you know, and like actually put them into a rehabilitation center. Yeah.
It's the laws on that are super. Yeah. And actually me just working in animal care in the past as well, like the laws are unfortunately very archaic and very strict on that. Like anytime we got a raccoon or anything in, like it was just like euthanasia, like the path is always euthanasia. Like just it's a public safety hazard, which sucks.
Fair,
but you do have to, it's a shitty situation. That's all there is to it. So unfortunately, it does suck. R.I.P. Sad.
Let's just hope this isn't going to be another Harambe situation.
Oh my god.
Another animal death so close to the election.
Please not. I can't handle it.
Maybe this is the one that fixes it.
Oh, maybe.
One can only hope.
Yes.
All right. Well, that leads us to the end of the show, which means we need our next homework assignment, and it's Seth's turn.
Hello. I remembered that Netflix did an animated Scott Pilgrim series, and I want to give that a check out.
I was actually literally just thinking about Pilgrim the other day, so that's actually
Really?
a really interesting choice.
Nice. That is
very
weird.
excited for that.
Coincidence.
I think I was starting.
If you
Some stuff popped up on my For You page at one point talking about Scott Pilgrim, so maybe that's why it was on my mind.
that could be, that would make sense. And if you want, you can watch the movie as well. It's not required, but
I think I remember
definitely
the
the
movie
series.
well. I'll watch the Brie Larson bit.
Yeah. How she sang that song better than the original vocalist.
Yes,
like,
she did.
just fucking nailed it.
Everyone knows it.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
So, yeah.
I like that pick.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. So anyways, that is our show, and we will be seeing you guys in a couple of weeks with a new president-elect and a whole bunch of other stuff going on. I'm TCK Media on most platforms. That is Seth23, who you can see on the Tiki and Talkies, sometimes sober, sometimes not. And then we got the Raccoon Loon herself. Listen to Game Birds. They just put out a episode recently talking about lo-fi games. It's really good. You should go check it out. And we are the Internet Friends, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.